The US Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen will arrive in India later today to participate in the US-India Economic and Financial Partnership Dialogue. This ahead of her trip to Bali for the G20 summit, where she will accompany President Biden on November 15th and 16th. In addition to participating in the 12-year-old US-India Economic and Financial Partnership Dialogue in New Delhi, Yellen will meet with Indian technology executives and discuss India's leadership agenda for the group of 20 major economies next year with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Yellen's visit comes at a time when India is riding the early stages of an economic boom that has outstripped China's growth rate in recent years and is rapidly expanding its manufacturing base. Ahead of Yellen's visit, a US Treasury official said that the United States is not seeking to dissuade India from buying Russian crude as G7 allies and Australia finalize details on a Western imposed price cap on Russian oil exports planned for December 5th. Yellen is not expected to dwell on India's failure to condemn Russia's war in Ukraine, or rather India's neutral stance on the war. Neither will she dwell on India's massive increase in purchases of discounted Russian oil this year. Meanwhile, India has said that it will continue to buy Russian oil as it is advantageous for the country during his recent Moscow visit. India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar stated that it is an obligation of the government to ensure that Indians get the best access on the most advantageous terms to international oil and gas markets.
It is our fundamental obligation to ensure that the Indian consumer has the best possible access on the most advantageous terms to international markets. And in that respect, quite honestly, we have seen that the India-Russia relationship has worked to advantage. So if it works to my advantage, I would like to keep that going.
India has emerged as Russia's largest oil buyer after China, as refiners grab discounted Russian oil shunned by Western buyers over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia's share of India's oil imports surged to an all-time high of 23% in September from just about 2% before the invasion. India, the world's third largest oil importer and a traditional ally of Russia, has not explicitly condemned what Russia calls its special military operation in Ukraine. For more on this, our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibil gets us the latest. Take a look.
The US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will be in Delhi on Friday, a day which is packed for her. She will be addressing gatherings here and taking part in the India-US Economic and Financial Partnership Dialogue along with the Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. But her visit comes at an interesting time when US has been engaging with various countries, including India, on the energy cap on the Russian energy, and also we know that the Americans are keen that countries do not import Russian energy. But we also know that the Indian External Affairs Minister has made it clear that when it comes to India and Russia economic partnership, this is something that is expected to grow in next few months and years. He said that earlier this week in Moscow, standing alongside the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. So here in Delhi, there will be a messaging of sorts by both sides, even as both countries reaffirm their commitment towards how both countries can work together before the big summit, the G20 summit that will take place in Bali, where of course the Indian Prime Minister will be present, the US President Joe Biden will be present, and of course Janet Yellen's next stop will be Indonesia from India. With video journalist Ginu, Siddhant Sibil for WION in New Delhi.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.